For decades, my voice has been cranked up very, very high. High register. I can tell a lot because I'm speaking up here so that I'm speaking in higher register instead of letting it slide back down into here.
Good golly, Miss Molly! I'm ready to break some skulls and stomp on brains.
Well, howdy, howdy, howdy. Nearly Senior Citizen here. Greetings, boys, girls, and all of our non-binary friends, and welcome to this, a brand new day. Oh, hokey smokes. I woke up 4 o'clock in the morning, wheezing and coughing in my mask, my sleep apnea mask, with a filter on it. And I get up out of bed after an hour, or was it only a half hour? But I got out of bed very early. Ugh. And it's raining outside, so of course it is fungal spore city. Yay. So it got all the way through the mask and it was awful. But I went to bed a little bit early, so while I did lose sleep, I also got extra sleep. So at least I was able to sleep, but it's getting warm. Hokey smokes. I'm starting to peel the blankets off, and I had mostly just a sheet on last night. And my legs were giving me danger signs, so yay. And that was with 3 fans going. And of course, front loading of videos. If you could toss me a like, that'd be very cool. If you could subscribe to the channel, that'd be awesome. If you could leave me a comment, I love comments. I thumbs up each one that I read, which is all of them. I answer as many as my executive dysfunction will allow. And I would like to thank each and every one of my Patreon patrons. These literally beautiful and literally awesome people are, in fact, literally beautiful and literally awesome, helping to keep me and my pets alive. I am disabled on an exceptionally limited income, and the cost of living far outpaces the cost of what I am paid to survive. So if you could help, that would be awesome. Definitely cool. Front loading of videos over. Yay, thank you, YouTube. Excuse me. So I'm taking a look on here. One thing I've been watching is, I've talked about this before and I'll talk about it again. There's this one guy who does a channel. He's from the South in Florida, deep red state, but he's a leftist type. And he's talking a lot about things, you know, like readiness and what's happening in war and all these various things. One of the things he's for, you know, rights, and if somebody's doing something that helps them be who they are, then let them be who they are if it doesn't hurt anyone. He's very pro-trans, he is very pro-ally, and that's a very good thing. And he's been talking about how the Air Force of late has been telling all of the people who are in that if you are facing discrimination, if you are having troubles, we will pay your legal bills. We will pay to move you to another base if you are facing discrimination. A lot of people are getting upset about this, but as Bo points out, the United States Air Force, unlike a lot of the other services, they look at readiness. Not, we're going to force you to conform to something so that we can be ready, but we are going to keep our people happy so that they'll be ready. And if you are ready, so that at a moment's notice you can pile in, get done what you need to do, get the job done, then they are going to make sure it gets done so that you can do that and do the job. A lot of these bases are in red states. If these red states keep up all of this, we're going to make it bad for everyone who is not just a cisgender white male. They will close down their bases and put them into places where their troops aren't going to be facing that discrimination, which will take trillions of dollars out of each local economy. People need to realize this. The United States Air Force has made up its mind. It is going to protect the people in its service, to keep it ready. And if the places that the bases are not places where the troops can stay ready, they will move. So it's, oh boy. So it's going to be fun in the future. Anyway, though, other things happening. One thing I did notice, somebody in comments had mentioned, they had watched and listened to one of my earlier videos. Like the first 12 that I had done when I was 47 years old. Then I was curious because my son watched YouTube and I wanted to watch, and so I found out what was going on and I played around with it and I did Let's Plays on the game Arena, and then I was done. I did my curiosity and I was happy. But the thing is, oh my gosh, my voice has become much, much, much more natural now, because way back then when I was doing the 47-year-old stuff, let's see if I can even do it anymore, but my voice was cranked way up high like this. I mean, I sounded super, super young and stuff when I was, well, young in comparison to how I normally sound. But this is how I cranked my voice up all the time so that my wife could hear me. For decades, my voice has been cranked up very, very high register. I can tell a lot because I'm speaking up here so that I'm speaking in higher register instead of letting it slide back down into here where I normally speak. And so yeah, my voice sounds a whole lot different now than it did this, back in 2012? It's just, I'm letting my voice box and my throat relax so that this is my more normal voice instead of that cranked up register so that people could hear me. Now I'm more, I don't have anyone really close by that needs to hear me. So yeah, if you can't hear well, then I'm sorry. It's a lot more relaxed and feels a lot more natural to speak with my much more natural voice. I'm getting closer to my natural voice with just my normal speaking. I think it's a bit lower even still, because I still feel the constriction of my chest and my throat quite a bit, which still cranks up my voice. I can hear it, hopefully you can, instead of just relaxing it back down. Again, I've got bone conduction and sound traveling through water, but hopefully you'll be able to tell. The outside view of voice is never as dramatic as it is from the person who's actually speaking, because again, bone conduction and sound through water, we sound very different. I actually have never had any problem with hating my voice on tape or such when recording when I was younger, or even, when I was younger child and younger adult. I had gotten used to, as a child, acting on stage, and so hearing my own voice on various things was a natural by then. So, yay. Also, though, now I want to talk about the whole Razor's Edge and inside-outside project thing. Yay! There's a lot that I've been thinking about that hopefully I'll be able to remember. But, taking a look down on the list here, I believe it was Sebastian Ferris that asked, how does the Kaiju compare in status and power to one of the primary cosmic horrors? That's the thing. Relative to this particular universe, the Kaiju is like a fallen and chained malevolent god. No powers of creation, only destruction, filled with a limitless hatred and an endless need for human meat in its belly. Relative to the Razor's Edge, it is unstoppable. No one has the power to stand up to this thing. Beings that outside of the Razor's Edge on the inside that could easily, wipe the ground with the Kaiju as easily as we would wipe off a mosquito that landed on our arm. Yes, there are plenty. But if they even made the mistake of stepping into the Razor's Edge, that they know they would stand no chance. Within that area, the Kaiju is all powerful. It cannot come to the outside where we are. It needs that ambient static electricity that is the result of the two universes rubbing together. It needs that as a background energy. Without that, it cannot survive. There is none of that out here. The energy from the inside that comes and flows into the outside has been down converted so it is just about our level of energy and quickly becomes that. There is no reach for the Kaiju out here. On the inside, there is enough. The energy of the inside is similar enough that it can use it. But it goes from, I will live until I choose to let go, to, I have a lifespan now, only a few billion years. It would not be able to survive for long relative to eternity by coming into the inside. But in the Razor's Edge, which is that meeting point between the two universes, it is that transition area. It is all that energy. It has everything it needs to live, and so it does. Relative to the Razor's Edge, it is a fallen and chained malevolent god. But past that, it is just another small, tiny thing. On the power levels of creatures, you have Gokura, which is just us. The next level up is Gakire. The first thing that you get as a Gakire is the ability to step out of your universe and either into the Ngabe, the insulating space that separates universes from each other within the multiverse, or into another universe. The very first thing that you get as a person, a being of power, is that ability. The Kaiju does not have that. It is a powerful being, but it is exceptionally limited within the relative outside of the Razor's Edge. Relative to itself, and in there, it is all powerful. Outside of that, it's nothing. It's a single being trapped inside of a single universe. I mean, any one of the cosmic horrors, if they were passing by and were hungry, just could easily tip the entire galaxy over, feed on everything organic, head onward, and not even realize that they had devoured everything on the inside, outside, and Razor's Edge. But it happens. Relative to itself, though, it is exceptionally powerful. Now let me see if there's anything else that I have on my list, because I know there is, and one of them was with repetition and power to show and point up what this thing also has. Repetition and power are dangerous on the inside and on the Razor's Edge because of all this extra reality and the stabilizing effects of the quantum knotting of intelligence. Things get ground in, become more stable. So the more you do something with power, well, when you look into the abyss also gazes into you. Things are two-way. The outside world changes you. You change the outside world. So as you are doing the same thing more often, that gets stabilized as part of you. So if you have power, you have to be exceptionally careful not to do the same thing all the time. The problem is there's no guides to tell you that. You have to figure it out. And most creatures that have power figure this out because now they're locked into behaviors that they can't break out of. But the Kaiju, well, right now, you don't go between between 1 a.m. and 5 a.m. at night, of course, a.m., up to the Kaiju. And if you do go up to the Kaiju at that time, you do not have any open wounds. And if you have any open wounds, by God, don't bleed on the thing. This is a game. It's not required. It's just something to keep it entertained. It could do that for 1 billion years and then change its mind the next day to do something else. It is a game that it is playing to keep itself entertained. So when it tortures some poor sap to bleed on it, it's just a game. Similarly, with the King in Crimson, when the King in Crimson discovers that their mind has been tampered with, their memory, because they get to see video evidence that when they were going to put in this repeater, this booster at Apple Rock, they were going to put it somewhere else, but then everybody's face goes blank and they go, okay, Apple Rock. Agreed? Agreed. And then everyone's back. They get to see that. The Kaiju shows this to the king so they can see how their memory was tampered with. To the king, this looks like, number one, it is a warning. Look what I did. Look what I can do again. Number two, it is a greeting from one powerful being to another. But it's also an admission of weakness. Look what I can do to you if you're not careful. But why warn people away from your flank unless you've got a weakness in your flank. So now the king has got a whole committee set up to try and study and figure out what exactly this weakness is. There is no weakness. It's just the kaiju playing. Yes, it reached in and did this because it needed the booster in Apple Rock so that when it blew up, that thing would take out all communications within that area for over 24 hours. It took a lot of work and a lot of effort to get that done. The kaiju cannot reach out here. It can only I cannot speak English. It can only reach out very limited, and it takes a lot of effort and a lot of work. So the kaiju isn't actually going to be doing that very often. That was a one-time thing. But it's also a game, because now the King in Crimson is going to be expending a lot of effort trying to look for a weakness that isn't there. It's a game to the kaiju. It hates us all. It wants us to suffer and struggle and fight. It loathes this existence. And I've opened up 24 hours worth of comments. My community tab. Going to go through and thank however many people have left me comments in the past 24 hours. If I mispronounce the username, no disrespect is intended. And even though I count American Sign Language, well, you've already seen how my brain works. And thank you, each and every one of you that watches my videos. I know that vlogging from especially someone who's not like a celebrity or anything there's so much more content out there that you could be watching. So for anybody that does, thank you so very much. My mental health thanks you a lot. But we have Psycho Jazz, thumbs up, and thank you. There is MENDELEVIUS, thumbs up, and thank you. Sebastian Ferris, greatly appreciated. Good to see you, and hopefully I answered your comment. It looks like Barago, but thumbs up, thank you. We have Scott49140. Oh, excuse me. Greatly appreciated. Thank you for the comment, and I forgot to look up the music. JAYY, thumbs up, and thank you very much. And I'm sorry that you have trouble seeing it on the weekend. But thank you. And Ben B, greatly appreciated. Jesse Koskinen, I'm glad that you were able to get things done. I'm very sorry that you are colorblind, because that can be a hassle and a half. But it's good to see you. And we have Robini Dundry, thumbs up and thank you. And Floramu, always good to see you in the comments. Confused Owl 29, oh, I actually answered that one yesterday. So that's actually just 10 people who left me comments in the past 24 hours. Greatly appreciated, each and every one of you. You get me out of my head and into the world and dealing with real people, if only for a short time, and if only in text. Well, thank you. And of course, don't know what device you're watching this on, but in the video description, there are links to all my various channels, as well as my Twitter, Facebook, Patreon. And again, I do want to thank each and every one of my Patreon patrons. These literally beautiful, literally awesome people are literally beautiful and literally awesome. And that's a very good thing. I like being alive. I know my pets like being alive, and I cannot remember how long I should be keeping my hands in the air. Hopefully, I'm not keeping them up too long, but thank you each and every one of these beautiful and awesome people. It is greatly appreciated. If you'd like to help me out without becoming a patron, I do have a PayPal link, and I am desperately short of funds, so if you can help, please. If you'd like to help me out without sending any cash, I do have an Amazon wishlist link with stuff like cat food on it. That would be awesome. Now, don't feel obligated. I don't feel entitled, and if you cannot, or you simply do not donate, I do take all good wishes, and I deposit them in the bank of my heart, where I draw interest. And if you could toss me a like, I appreciate all the positive validation I get. And if you could hit the notification bell and the subscription button, that would be very cool. Yay! So it's a Monday. I'm going to try to get stuff done. There are some phone calls I still need to make, and that's a good thing. It's raining, so I'm going to be wheezy, sneezy, and coffee, though I'm doing pretty good right now. Thumbs up for that. Hopefully you can get done the things that you need to get done. But again, if you can't, that's okay. Don't beat yourself up. Just do what you can, survive, and try again the next day. And of course, the Covfefe bug is still raging. It's still out there. People are still getting it, spreading it, and dying of it. You don't need to do either. So please, take proper precautions and get vaxxed, get boosted. Be smart. So, until we meet again, you take care. Have a great day today. I will see you on the flip side. And quite frankly, I do think that's a very good idea.